Today is the day after Easter and the last day of what Christians around the world call Holy Week. Since Palm Sunday, we've been releasing a new video each day until the final day, which is today. The question for today's video is, what is Easter Monday? Easter Monday is the day after the world changed. The tomb is still empty. Jesus is still risen. Death is still defeated. But the disciples wake up and life keeps going. They're hungry. They need shelter. Eventually, they'll need to figure out what comes next. Sunday brought the most dramatic reversal in human history. Monday brings the question, now what? This is where most of us actually live, not in the dramatic moment of discovery, but in the days and weeks and years after, trying to figure out what resurrection means for Tuesday morning and Thursday afternoon and all the ordinary, mundane moments that make up a life. The four gospel accounts give us glimpses of this. Jesus appears to his followers repeatedly, over 40 days, not once, but again and again, in different settings, different configurations. He shows up on a road to Emmaus, in a locked room in Jerusalem, by a lake in Galilee. Each appearance seems designed not just to remind them he's alive and has conquered the grave, but to help them learn how to live in light of that fact. Consider the encounter by the Sea of Galilee. Peter and some of the others have gone back to fishing, back to what they knew before Jesus called them. Maybe they didn't know what else to do. Maybe they needed to eat. Maybe they were processing everything and needed the familiar rhythm of nets and water. They fish all night and catch nothing. And then at dawn, someone on the shore calls out with fishing advice. They follow it and haul in more fish than their nets could hold. And suddenly they realize it's Jesus. Peter jumps in the water and swims to shore. When they all arrive, Jesus has made breakfast, bread and fish cooking over a charcoal fire, and they eat together. There's something profoundly ordinary about this scene. The resurrected Lord of the universe is making breakfast, tending a fire, serving fish, cooking and sharing a meal with friends who abandoned him just days earlier. This is what post-resurrection life looks like. Not constant drama or spiritual intensity, but Jesus present with us in ordinary moments, in work, in meals, in the dailiness of life that keeps happening whether you've seen an empty tomb or not. After breakfast, Jesus talks with Peter. 3 times he asks, "Do you love me?" 3 times Peter says yes. 3 times Jesus tells him, "Feed my sheep." This is reorientation. Peter denied Jesus 3 times. Now Jesus gives him 3 chances to affirm his love for his Savior. But Jesus doesn't just offer forgiveness and move on. He gives Peter something to do, a way to live in light of what's happened, a mission that will shape the rest of his life. This is the pattern of post-resurrection encounters. Jesus meets people where they are, walking on a road, huddled in fear, going about their work, and helps them see how to live now that death has been defeated. He doesn't take them out of the world. He sends them back into it with new eyes and new purpose. This has meaning for us because we live in that same tension. Resurrection is real. Death is defeated. The kingdom has broken into history and nothing will ever be the same. And yet we still have to go to work. We still experience loss and disappointment. We still wonder what we're supposed to do with our lives and whether any of it matters. Easter Monday reminds us that Easter resurrection doesn't extract us from ordinary life. It redeems it. It gives us a way to inhabit the dailiness without being crushed by it or assuming it's meaningless. Because if Jesus rose from the dead, our small efforts at love and justice and beauty aren't futile. They're participating in the renewal of all things. When we feed the hungry or comfort the grieving or work for reconciliation or create something good, we're not just making temporary improvements. We're planting seeds in soil that will yield a harvest we can't yet imagine. This doesn't mean everything we do will succeed by worldly measures. It doesn't guarantee visible results or protection from suffering. But it does mean our labor is not in vain. That what we build in love endures somehow. that death doesn't get to erase the stuff of life that matters. The disciples had to learn this. They had to learn how to fish and eat breakfast and have difficult conversations and make decisions with the resurrection as their framework. So do we. We're learning to live as people who know how the story ends, but still have to navigate the chapters we're in. We're learning to work without despair, to grieve without hopelessness, to love without needing guaranteed outcomes. We're learning that resurrection doesn't mean constant spiritual highs or freedom from difficulty. It means a deep, settled confidence that God is making all things new, and we get to participate in that renewal right now in the most ordinary moments of our lives. Peter went back to being Peter, but he was a different Peter, someone who'd seen the empty tomb and eaten breakfast with the risen Lord and been entrusted with a mission that would cost him everything and bring more meaning to his life than he could have imagined. The same is true for us. We go back to our lives, our work, our relationships, our struggles. But we go back as people who've encountered resurrection, who know that death doesn't win, who've been given something to do that matters more than we can measure. Easter Monday is the first step of learning how to live that way, not perfectly, not without questions or setbacks or moments when it all feels too difficult, but faithfully, one ordinary day at a time. With the risen Jesus making breakfast on the shore, asking if we love him, and sending us back into the world to feed his sheep.